Okay, so we're moving on to another project this morning. We're still waiting on the stuff to come in to finish that project. So we're going to start working on the exhaust for this generator. So what we got going, we're coming off the generator through a wrinkle belly. We're going to come up 90, come straight back to here. Then we're going to do a 45. We're going to 45 across, go right between this light and this expansion tank. It'll come out through here, and as soon as we get under this pipe, we're going to 45 one more time. We'll come through here. Right in this section here is where the muffler will go, which is that right there. Soon as we go through there, as soon as we come out of the muffler, we're going to 45 again. We'll shoot right across, basically to this corner, and then we're going to 90 up, and it'll go up all the way to the top there. So we might, I might stop. I'm going to stop short of this plumbing right here. I've kind of went back and forth. Originally I was going to come across and come over here and go between these two exhausts, but then the problem is that plumbing would be coming through here, and eventually we have to plumb the main engine up through here. And if I did my original plan, that would hold the main engine plumbing down, because it would have to go underneath this generator plumbing. And then because that main engine plumbing has to come all the way here to the back too, even though it's already going to be, kind of a potential head bumper, even though it'll be soft because it'll get wrapped. But I'd have to come down. I mean, we'd end up being right down here, which is right at eye level if I was to go underneath that small generator. So by doing this, it'll allow us to at least push that main engine plumbing, right up here within just a couple inches of this, which we'll still put it down pretty low, but is what it is. So I kind of forgot to get the camera out this morning. So I already kind of spent the time thinking through that, and already got the 2-inch pipe out. Cut 2 pieces, and now I'm going to start working on putting those together. We'll get this tacked up, kind of get it mocked up in there. And then once we get that mocked up in there, we can get the right angle on the 45, run across there. This is going to require more fittings once again than I originally kind of expected or ordered. So going to end up probably cutting this 90 into 245s, and then we will I ordered some more fittings, so I think by cutting this one into 245s plus the 45 I already have, we should be able to get at least to the back of the muffler. Okay, so now we got to get the flange put on there. Get the easiest way to go about this is gonna need a piece of wood to stand that end of the pipe on, so it'll be sitting flush on this. And this is 4 inches. What's a half an inch? So we need something that's 4.5 inches. See if I can go find something. Nice. You see I got had a couple little spacers to get there. Got this sitting nice and flush around there. So now the key is to get this flange lined up correctly, and because we 2-bolted everything, or 2-holed everything, if we get this lined up just right, we will be pointed going out the right direction when we get it in the boat. Okay, get it tacked on there. Get this fit up here. Gotta love starting threads when you only got one hand to do it. So now we're gonna come out of here. I guess it's not even gonna quite be 45. Almost cut. Might end up cutting this 45 and getting a 22.5 across here. And yeah. As long as I'm gonna go get the angle finder, see what that is. What we'll do, line this up on our pipe, run that over to there, somewhere in that neighborhood. So 161 degrees, so I got to do a little math. So for some reason I had in my head that I needed to add that up, and then I remembered I can just do 180 minus 161, which comes out to 19. So not quite 22.5. So we're going to be able to cut that 45 in half and then use that. So we're going to luck out on the amount of fittings we need here. So as you've seen in the other video, the easiest way to cut a fitting like that is if you already have a pipe attached to it that can go in the clamp. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to roughly figure out how long the pipe is going to need to be to go from there to where we're going to land here. I'll probably cut it a couple inches long, and then we can weld that 45 on the end of it, and then that'll give us something to clamp to when we put it in the saw to cut it. So definitely gonna end up out of frame here a little bit, I think. But we go from there. You're always better off to measure the long side and have a little extras, or a little extra. So it looks to me like we're gonna need 6 feet. So we'll go cut a 6-foot section and tack this on there and see how it looks. Okay, well, I just seen Matt, the refrigeration guy, pull in, so I think we're gonna work on some refrigeration stuff for a little bit, and we'll get back to this. Okay, well, the battery kind of went dead, so I wasn't able to throw a new battery in. But basically what we did, we soldered both of these ends on the chiller. We wanted to get these soldered on because the way the chiller is going to be mounted, it's going to be right tight to the side of the boat, so that would have created an issue. And then this is the condenser for the refrigerant. It's a used one that I'm putting in the boat, so we had to get these ends off, cleaned up, both ends, and then we had to get this apart because obviously we're going to be coming this way instead of where it went. So that's kind of what that project entailed. now we're gonna get back to getting the exhaust put together. So the first thing we got to do is cut that 45 into essentially a 22. Pretty close, I think. We're gonna be just fine. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this come along. Here. Strap here. Okay. By doing that, slide this up right there. It'll hang there. Allow me to get a couple tack welds on this. Then we can put some hangers up and keep going. 1/4 inch. So we're gonna need a hanger that's got 1.5 inch extension on it. It'll go right there like that, with a piece ran right up, and I'll weld it to that edge, I think is what we'll do right there. So go make that, get this hung, and then we'll continue on down the line. Basically, that is where that's gonna be. Let me take this off now. So now basically the other half of that 45 that we cut in half to make it 22.5 will go here, and then we're going to come right across to here, and that's where the muffler is going to go, and it'll go right up in there. So basically I need to just make a piece. We'll put that 22.5 on here, make a piece that comes to here with a flange on it, and then the muffler will bolt directly to that flange. So we got to get a measurement for that length that we're gonna need, because that muffler's overall length is 25 inches and we've got 38. And the closer, probably come 2 inches past this. So we're gonna be 19 inches to the flange from the short side of that 22.5. Okay, so the short side of the flange is 1 inch. So 19 minus 1 is 18. These flanges are 1/2 inch. So 18 minus 1/2 is 17.5. So that's what I'll cut the pipe, 17.5, and then when we weld these two things on it, that'll give us our 19 inches. Okay. So basically what my scheme is here, gonna put the 22.5 on first, and then I'll use it to basically indicate the pipe and then I will 2-hole the flange off of that. Be good if I turn the welder on. You have your post flow set for long enough, which I probably run it longer than I need to. You can you hold the nozzle or the cup over your weld after you're done, and it helps with discoloration. Okay, so this is going to be kind of a pain in the butt. The other thing I will say, what we're doing, 2-holing it is not that critical. Quite literally eyeballing it. Is going to be enough. What we're gonna do is, because this flange is so close to that frame, that I'm gonna put the hanger on this instead of hanging it off of the muffler itself. that's the idea. Right there. So throw a tack. I need to move my fire blanket. Get another one here. Okay. So this should be fun one-handed. That's why stick welding schedule 10 pipe is not the funnest thing in the world to do. Okay, so that's actually pretty freaking close. Height looks a little off, so throw this up here. Okay, so pretty good. That's just a little bit off. A little bit, not much. Alright, let's try this again. Okay. two-holing there was horrible. We'll just say that. Need to go get 4 more bolts, 4 more nuts, and another gasket. See if we can't get this muffler put up here. That's good. Ugh. Oh. Okay, so got 190 left. So I think, I don't know if I should just stop here and weld that up what I've got done. Basically what we got to do now is we got to come out of this, turn, and shoot right over kind of towards that corner. Oh, the other thing that I just realized that I kind of forgot about is by sticking, I can't do, I'm gonna have to turn and still come over here to the middle because that exhaust still has to go across there. So my whole idea of, gosh, I can't believe I forgot about that. My whole idea of keeping that up is kind of gone. I'm really gonna have to do some thinking here on what the best way to go is. I might come out of here straight. Let's see, because that's gonna come across there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some figuring here. Do some brainstorming to make this work right. Alright, well, I'm a little bit frustrated with where I'm at on that exhaust at the moment. I thought I had a better plan than I did, and I'm really ticked off at myself for not completely thinking that all the way through. That's not the way I operate. I normally have pretty foolproof plan. So at this point, the most important exhaust in that whole equation is the other generator. Granted, I want all of the generators to have the most back, or the least amount of back pressure possible, but the 90 kW generator, which is that other red one, is going to be running probably close to 75, maybe 80% of the time. It's the main generator that'll be ran all winter long crabbing. I am planning on switching back and forth between the 130 kW and the 90 kW to kind of keep the hours somewhat consistent. But the Isuzu up there in the front is kind of a just secondary generator for when we're sitting in town or just when we're traveling, things like that. And we're going to need all of the power out of that big generator. So I think what my plan is now, the long way around of what I'm trying to say, is I'm going to go ahead and get the chiller in, or that's what I'm going to work on the rest of the day here. I get the chiller in, and once we get the chiller in, then I can run the plumbing for that 90 kW generator. And once I have it ran, it'll, like I say, it'll take priority, and then I can get a better idea on where the Isuzu 20 kW generator, how I'm going to plumb that. And then obviously the main engine is extreme priority. Like, it has to be done the best way possible. And those three engines, the two big generators and the main engine, are the ones that are obviously the most expensive to replace and will also be used the most. And so I'm going to kind of prioritize the how those exhausts are ran, and then I'm just going to do the best I can on that 20 kW. I think everything we've done so far is good. I don't think that's going to change. It's just how we finish that last little bit where it pops up into the exhaust trunk and goes up. The other thing that I have to really consider as I'm doing all of this is we're not done once they go up the exhaust trunk. They have to come out the back of the mast, and I don't want to lay it out where they go into the exhaust trunk in a way that makes it just chaos inside that mast when we're trying to poke them back out. So there's things to consider all the way down the line.